morning everybody, good morning, it's JPR, and welcome back to another video. Well, it is the last day of the year, so what more fitting thing is there to do than take a look at the last thing to do in every Pokemon game? Yeah, I totally didn't just come up with that intro on the fly because I play my videos ahead of time, like a responsible YouTuber. They'll never know that I just came up with it. A Superboss, though not an officially recognized term by any Pokemon game, is traditionally seen as one of the final obstacles an RPG player has to overcome before they have proven their mastery of the game. Generally, the player has to go out of their way to seek these challenges out. They aren't usually part of the main story in any way, rather little bonuses for truly dedicated players to find. If you're truly dedicated to this channel though, you can prove it by hitting the subscribe button and watching till the end because I have some very special announcements regarding next year coming up. But before then, enjoy the video. Although Gold and Silver aren't the first games in the series, many fondly remember Red as the first true Superboss trainer. In fact, it's one of the things that really defines Gold and Silver despite being the very last fight in the game. I mean, how could it not? You're gated off from Mount Silver for the entirety of your Johto and Kanto journey, and finally, after obtaining 16 badges, you're permitted access to the most challenging dungeon in the game, with it all culminating in an epic fight against yourself from the first games. I'm pretty sure when you look up Mind Blown in the dictionary, there's a picture of Red's sprite in there. Not to mention, Red's team is the perfect mix of all the gift Pokemon the player obtains in Pokemon Yellow version, even the Espeon that cleverly evolves from the Eevee you got in Celadon City. That is, at least until Heart Gold and Soul Silver decided that Lapras was a more worthy candidate. Either way, it's a cool way of making Red's team work because these are all the Pokemon the player should have gotten, even if they didn't use them. But flipping the coin to worst for a moment, I'm sorry, but I'm going with Red again, this time from Let's Go. It's just that when I think of Let's Go, the double fight with Mewtwo and Green is generally how I remember the end of the game. Evidently Pokemon Evolutions thought so too. See, including the final Blue battle was cool because it shows the transition to the Johto games where Blue is the new Viridian gym leader. Including Green was cool because it's the only time that she's ever had a chance to appear in the main series, and her team includes some cool references to Green from the Adventures manga. Red is just the least cool inclusion of the three here, which bites because, well, it's Red. First of all, Red's Pikachu is considerably gimped here since Let's Go doesn't include held items, which means no Light Ball for you. Second of all, this team is just weird. It's basically the Heart Gold and Soul Silver team minus Blastoise and Charizard because they're Blue and Green's ace Pokemon this time, and while I do appreciate the Mega Venusaur as a nod to the manga, where do Machamp and Arcanine come from? At the very least, if they wanted this to be more like Manga Red, I think Poliwrath could have replaced Lapras. It's quite literally Manga Red's starter Pokemon. Third, the only key to trigger Red's appearance is to defeat 6 Master Trainers, which realistically isn't a lot. There's more than 150 in the game. Fourth, and this is more on Let's Go itself than the battle, but Red is like the least significant character ever in this universe. If I recall correctly, he's only mentioned once in passing through an optional line of dialogue, and that's it. Though that's mostly because, unlike the Johto games, in this universe, Red doesn't defeat Team Rocket. Instead of him being this ominous living legend that's hyped up through the entire game like in Johto, begging the question when your paths would finally cross, here he's just like, "Sup, it's me, Red. I'm just kinda here." Red's appearance in this game is all fan service for veterans, but for newbies, which Let's Go is primarily aimed at, there's literally no reason to care about this guy in the slightest. Pretty much the only thing going for this match over the original is that you're not allowed to use any items, but other than that, it's just not all that exciting as a Superboss battle in my opinion. But once again, repping the best category is none other than the former champion Steven in Emerald. I won't lie, like many fans, I was rather disappointed and confused to see Steven get replaced by Wallace as the champion. But if there's one good thing that came out of it, it's the Superboss battle against Steven in Meteor Falls. First of all, perfect setting for Steven, who is constantly searching for rare rocks and minerals. Even better from a gameplay perspective since Meteor Falls is a sprawling maze beyond the waterfall, meaning you pretty much just stumble into this fight your first time. It's simply a reward for exploring every nook and cranny of the Hoenn region. Hoenn is also a remarkably hard region to grind in past the Elite Four, so just being able to stand up to Steven's team of mid-level 70 Pokemon is a challenge in itself. There is no big reward for winning this fight, not even another roll of the end credits like when you beat Red. Steven simply commends you on how strong you've become while forking over a measly 4,600 Pokédollars. This guy is more broke than a college student, no wonder he's digging for rocks. Still, it's the kind of super boss battle that I like most, one that you just stumble upon completely unprepared for, and the only reward is the satisfaction you get from it. Adding another entry to the worst is Barry from Pokemon Platinum. The reason why is because this final battle is the complete antithesis of everything I've mentioned up until now. Barry is not special. I've battled this man a dozen times already. He stands in the same place in the middle of the survival area all Saturday and Sunday, so he's not exactly hard to find. And also, the most egregious offense, you need to enter the Hall of Fame a whopping 20 times for Barry to reach his peak levels, where his starter will max out at level 85. At the time, this at least gave Barry the title of the most powerful NPC trainer level-wise, since his level 85 starter surpassed Red's level 81 Pikachu, but only a year later, Red just retook the title with his level 88 Pikachu. So if you entered the Hall of Fame 20 times just to battle Barry and say that you beat the strongest trainer, then even that accomplishment is null and void by the time Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out. The only thing the Super Boss is king of is wasting your time. Thankfully, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl give Sinnoh an infinitely cooler super boss to tackle, that being the level 100 uncatchable Shadow Giratina. Now, yeah, it's not a trainer, but I'll be darned if this thing isn't the true super boss of the game. Being only one Pokemon, it's far easier to take down than most super bosses, even at level 100, plus one of its move slots is occupied by the largely useless Destiny Bond, so this is definitely not one of the best super bosses in terms of challenge, rather just the shock value in presentation. Sure, it would have been cooler to get an entire Distortion world to explore beforehand, but honestly, just including this fight alone was more than I expected them to do. Plus, it gives us a chance to hear a fantastic rendition of Giratina's Platinum battle theme, one that I was sure would be lost to time. For that alone, it's a very cool fight. Okay, so some people consider veteran Sean in Challenger's Cave the super boss of Black and White because he's only one of 2 non-champion NPCs to battle using a full team of 6 Pokemon. The other is Game Freak's Morimoto, but his team looks like it just stumbled out of Weenie Hut Jr.'s. Anyway, seeing as how Sean is literally just some random dude and Morimoto is now a recurring character, I'm gonna say that Unova's real super boss is the one that we're all thinking of. Of course, Cynthia is threatening all days of the week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, but nothing quite strikes fear into your heart like walking into the wrong vacation home in Undella Town. It is an utterly unexpected reveal in a region remotely located far away from the first 4 with zero indication that a past character would return, but at this moment you realize that you've been getting off with entering strangers' homes through their unlocked doors far too easily. Pokemon may not be a horror game, but if there were ever a jump scare in it, this would be it. Stand aside, Giratina, you're the second scariest thing to come out of Sinnoh. Just the fact that the game's hardest battle is thrown at you out of left field in the most relaxing town in the region is enough to solidify it as one of the best super boss battles. But we haven't even talked about the battle itself yet. She literally has 2 Pokemon with 0 weaknesses in Gen 5. It's an uphill climb from the start. As for the rest, come on guys, I literally just talked about this. The best part is, in Black 2 and White 2, this is only one of the game's numerous super boss battles. Cynthia is still in her villa, but she and the other champions also appear in the Pokemon World Tournament, and battles against you with 4 completely different weather-themed teams depending on the season, and Colress will battle you for a second Master Ball aboard the Plasma Frigate. There's pretty much a super boss lying around every corner in these games, providing more than enough entertainment for us veteran fans. Pokemon X and Y is pretty much the exact opposite though, offering only Serena or Callum as the final super boss. They also stand idly in Kyloud City, so yeah, this is basically just a repeat of the Barry super boss fight, only with lower leveled Pokemon, and you don't have to enter the Hall of Fame 20 times, thank god. Also, they do end up getting a Mega Ring and an Absolite, which while cool that it's one of the few battles against Mega Evolution in this game, kinda undercuts the entire theme of the story that Lysander was pushing, which is that everything is finite and that people will have to fight to get what they want. So even though your rival pursued a Mega Ring for the entire game to no avail, they just get one anyway here. It's like that whole storytelling bit just went completely out the window. Lysander died for nothing, guys. Resources are infinite. Sun and Moon gives you the option of fighting either Red or Blue as the super boss when you first arrive at the battle tree. There's not a ton to say here, they mostly just use slightly altered versions of their Heart Gold and Soul Silver teams, and they're basically just here to remind you that these games came out during Pokemon's 20th anniversary. That's it. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon definitely moves this into the worst for one reason and one reason alone. They don't get their epic battle theme remix. Instead, they just use the normal Alola trainer battle theme this time around. Yeah, you actually have to work to hear their unique theme by going up through the battle tree, which, good luck getting me to go up there. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon offer another super boss in the form of Veteran Aristo, who only appears on Mount Lanakeela's summit after you defeated all of Alola's Z-Trainers, also known as the Raukahunas. And after all of that, he proceeds to use an extremely crappy team of conflicting weather abilities, which also now feels like the Walmart version of Raihan's team from the Galar League. Luckily, Alola does give you a few decent-ish super bosses through the title defense mode. Of all the challengers, I'd say Gladion is probably the most challenging. He only appears in the Ultra games and now uses a Kanto starter after training in the Kanto region. My main problem though is that none of these super bosses reward you for doing anything extra than what's expected of you. Like, duh, you're gonna use the title defense feature and go to the battle tree. I wouldn't really call that going beyond expectations. The only exception is Aristo, who is by far the worst of the three. Sword and Shield's base game isn't much better. The two super bosses are Hop and Leon, who you can fight through the Champions Tournament. Hop does add Zacian or Zamazenta to his team, which is pretty neat, but the rest of his team is still Hop's team. Meanwhile, Leon uses the same team as before, minus one Pokemon. Yeah, both of the brothers will only use 5 Pokemon in these matches. Can I even call them super bosses? What gives? It also doesn't help that you can just freely call upon either of them to enter the tournament, plus there's a good chance that you won't even fight them in the finals. It's entirely possible to fight them in an earlier round, or maybe they'll just lose to some extra. I will tip my hat to the DLC though. The Isle of Armor provides a rather fun match against Mustard once all the other missions are completed. You don't really have to venture far out to find him though, he's just chilling on his couch playing some Pokemon Quest, but after all the build up through the Isle of Armor story, it's nice to get to battle Mustard and his team at full strength, giving you an idea of what Galar's former champion was like in his prime. He even teams up with Peony in the Galarian Star Tournament for a battle against 2 former champions, which is pretty neat. With a level 80 Urshifu, Mustard is by far the tournament's strongest competitor. I know Swordward and Shilbert are supposed to be the final bosses, but they're more like secret bosses than super bosses, I would say. They are not nearly on the same level as the other participants, and certainly not Mustard. And there you have it, the best and worst super bosses that Pokemon has to offer, of course, in my opinion only. But I'm glad you stuck around because we have some very exciting news for 2022. First of all, this is the end of an era. This is the last video that I'll be editing for the foreseeable future. Because, you guessed it, I am hiring an editor to help out for next year. I'm hoping that he'll be able to bring some more visual flair and creativity to the videos, while also keeping some of that familiar JPR feel. I've been working a full-time job for 6 months now, and my life has literally been go to work, come home, work on videos, sleep. So, although I really will miss having that personal connection by editing my own videos, I think this is for the best. Not only for me, but for you guys too. This will hopefully allow me to spend more time scripting and brainstorming, and the presentation won't suffer as a result. Secondly, and some of you have probably already noticed in the description, but we have merch over on Teespring now. As of this moment, we only have the JPR logo shirt. It comes in red, blue, and black. But I am working with my designer on a Good Morning Everybody design, and maybe even a Hisuian Arcanine shirt that we can get out early in the year. So if you're a fan of the channel and you want to support me even further, definitely go check out the merch in the description below. And that's all I have to share for the time being. 2021 has been a fantastic year for the channel. We smashed every conceivable record this year and reached heights that I had only dreamed of before. Although I'd love to say let's do better next year and reach 200,000 subscribers, I really only have one thing left to say. Thank you for watching.